Good afternoon, TikTok. Welcome to part 9 of how in just 3 days the Sacramento County Sheriff's Department will come and lock me out of a home that I have lived in for the past 23 years. In my previous segment, I left off talking about how I had been in the Sacramento Superior Court regarding the unlawful detainer piece that had been filed against me and how that due process went or didn't. And so now I'd like to discuss a little bit more about how the homeowners association that is a part of my neighborhood and how they have seemingly joined forces with either Freedom Mortgage, Loan Depot, Department of Financial Protection and Innovation, or all three. The mortgage company that I was with, I left off of a video back stating that I wasn't getting my questions answered. And so the foreclosure process would have probably started long before I entered into the modification agreement, or tried to enter into the modification agreement, because I kept asking questions and trying to get answers, and none of those questions were being answered. And so once I entered into the modification agreement, or tried to enter into the modification agreement, it starts the process of, trying to modify the terms of the contract. And because I had gone through the modification trying to modify the payment amount, it put a stall on any foreclosure proceedings. So keep that piece in mind. After they had foreclosed on the property, I received a notice from the homeowners association and their representatives, Severade and Glon, I believe they're called, alerting me that the homeowners association has decided to foreclose on my property. Now, the key piece of this is that the homeowners association made the decision in a board meeting 96 days prior, which would have been about the time that Freedom Mortgage may have initially started the first foreclosure proceedings. But they couldn't do that because of my request for the modification information. And so I received this letter from Severade and Glon, the homeowners representatives for the homeowners association, telling me that this decision was made 96 days prior to them notifying me. Again, asked for the same information. What are you basing this on? Why? And they're telling me again, past due homeowners association dues. And I said, wait a minute, I just made a huge payment to you. I'd like to see your breakdown. They didn't, but when I looked on the ledger, they were missing a huge payment that I had made, over $2,500 that I had made to them. I know that they were missing this payment because it caused a lien to be placed on my property. I paid that payment so that the lien could be removed and I could continue on with my modification. So once I made that large $2,500 payment to have the lien removed, I received a certificate stating the lien had been removed. But when I looked at the ledger, the homeowners association did not have that dollar amount added to what I was owing. So their information was based upon wrong information. And so again, reached out to the homeowners association and their representatives, asking them to validate the debt, give me the information. You're missing a large payment. Can you show me how your payments were calculated? Send me information about the payments I've made. Let me see where your accounting is, all of this. They ignored it. They did not respond. They didn't do anything. But they sent me a second letter stating the same thing. We decided that 96 days prior to us notifying you, we decided to foreclose on your property. Well, I didn't get any more information about it because Freedom Mortgage, Loan Depot had already started the foreclosure proceedings and had sold the property in a trustee sale. So I'm not sure whether they decided to back off or they realized that, hey, the mortgage company is already doing the job that we were going to do, so we don't need to do anything, because I haven't received new information from Severide and Glon lately. But it's very strange that, again, you have a board meeting, decide you're going to foreclose on my property, and wait 96 days to notify me. How does that make sense? And again, I questioned that, never received a response, never received any type of information from the homeowners association alerting me to the fact that how they made this decision and why they made this decision. But as I continue to walk through the neighborhood, I still see that they're still trying to take care of the contaminated water situation. And what I mean by take care of the contaminated water situation is the Sacramento County workers will come and open up the hydrants and flood the streets with this contaminated water. I've asked the persons who are in charge of the HOA's landscaping, because the landscaping in the community is taken care of by a particular company. And so I asked Tina, the landscape maintenance supervisor, why are they opening up those hydrants? What are they doing? And she goes, oh, there's a biofilm buildup in the hydrants, and we need to make sure that the biofilm doesn't stay there. So we open up the hydrants to release the biofilm and clean out the hydrants. But you release the contaminants into the street? So, again, comical to me, but Tina was very forthcoming about the information she shared. And as I continue to walk through, hydrant flooding in progress, but not telling any of the neighbors why they're flooding or why the hydrants are being flushed. Again, more information from when I attempted to reach out to the homeowners in the Nextdoor app to share with them. So again, no one wants to hear it, but they can see it. So it's almost like hiding in plain sight. But as I, the person who's being more vocal about it, start to speak up, I am being shunned. I am being shut down as I watch. And when I say watch my neighbors and the deficiency, I say that because what caused me to step back from talking about this with my neighbors is because I didn't want to hear it. But what I did notice is that my children's friends, and I'm not a doctor and I'm not trying to diagnose anyone, but I have to talk about what I see. I noticed that all of the children who were born in this particular, not all of them, a lot of them, which are my son's friends, had something, and I call it something because you can see that there are visible signs of some sort of deficiency. I'm just going to call it that. And I can't, like I said, diagnose it, say what it is, but the signs were visible and they were there. And so the more I try to step back from alerting the homeowners association or the people that are my neighbors, I still continue to see more and more children with some developmental signs of things that were happening. And so that's what caused me to focus more heavily on my own child and the developmental issues that my child was having. My first child was not born when we lived in this neighborhood. We lived in another place and we watched our home built. My second child was born here. And so there's no, that I'm aware of, neurological issues with my firstborn, but my secondborn, who was born in this community, I am noticing things that are happening with them, and as well as their friends. So this is what caused me to really start pursuing things within the school systems with backing off from my neighbors, because of what I noticed in the community and how the children of my son's friends had something that they were dealing with. And I couldn't pinpoint what it was, but it didn't make sense that so many of them had something. I'm going to stop here.